okay?
Morning. Hi, Alan. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Despite the greyness, I think we know that the blue skies are just behind those grey skies, and we'll be returning soon.
Absolutely.
Positive.
Yes.
For somebody who understands the sort of power of the mind, the positive thinking, and indeed the changes that we go through, what prompted your blog where you sort of wrapped it up to think of this as being in a chrysalis rather than a lockdown?
I've just had so many conversations recently. So I'm still working with clients online during all of this. So supporting them with their mind and body health, and then also just conversations with friends and family. And when I really started to see this pattern that people are, that we're all responding in such a different way. And for myself, it's been a really reflective period, and it's given me downtime, and I've tidied the house, and it's given me time to really focus on my health and think about the future. And then for others, it's been very overwhelming. And I thought, you know what, it's time to put pen to paper and actually, share some thinkings and some ideas here, and hopefully offer some solutions as to how we can maneuver our way through this time. So yeah, that's where it all came from. So it's really, the blog was all about reacting to what's happening during the pandemic, and how does this determine not how we're experiencing it just now, but also our future as we come out of lockdown. I sort of wrote about it in the blog as though, think about it as a domino effect. And what you're experiencing now, if it's harmful, or it's putting a lot of pressure on your emotions and sort of the psychology of how you're feeling, then that is going to be a ripple effect. It's going to impact your life as we come out of this as well. So it was really about offering some ideas and some thoughts about how we can manage all of that, and use the most of our resources to actually be in as good a state as possible for as long as possible. So actually, and that's not about ignoring realities, Alan. We're all, like I said, feeling this in very different ways.
Is it necessarily positive, or do we have to be on the lookout for the negative side of this as well?
So, I'm not so comfortable with the word negativity, because I think that puts us into a state, a lower vibration, if I can say that. So it immediately puts us into a fight or flight place. Whereas if we think about, we can't ignore realities. So look, at the moment, we're all having to social distance. We've got to mask up. We can't go to funerals. We can't go to weddings. We can't go to graduations. Those of us that have kids are homeschooling. This is all happening. People have forfeit their incomes. Businesses are under pressure. This is all happening. It's almost out of our control. But what we can control is our reaction to it. So that's the thing. That's the key. Yeah.
Control is really important, I think, here, and part of the sort of linking into the natural world, and we may do that in a little while. Sort of, if you look to the caterpillar becoming a butterfly from a human perspective, you'd say, well, the caterpillar is out of control of that just happens to the caterpillar, and yet there is the most massive amount of control that allows a caterpillar to turn into a butterfly.
Absolutely, yeah.
This is, I'm really interested in your approach to things, because I think this sense of change, and change is, for most people, quite a scary thing. If you think of it in terms of the word growth rather than change, and I reflect back into the natural world, and then it perhaps is a more positive thing.
It is, and actually, in order to grow, we actually have to face our fear. We actually have to feel the pain, which most of us really, we would rather not sign up for that. It's much easier to carry on being and doing as we are, because who, at the end of the day, who wants to really go into that space and feel vulnerable and feel those raw emotions? But actually, it's through that we gain the greatest momentum, that we actually get the deepest growth within us. So this is when we start to look at the spiritual aspects of who we are, and actually our spiritual journey at that very deep level of being. You know, there's teachings in many traditions that communicate the importance of this, and how when we find a point of equilibrium within ourselves, we can actually also find a point of gravity, a point of centeredness, and we can take charge of ourselves. However, in order to do that, there is a journey to take. And, you know, with my clients, I often talk about stripping back layers. You know, it's like peeling an onion. That we show up in the world in a certain way, and actually for many of us, fear and flight is our normal, you know, is our normal parameters. But when we start to strip back the layers, when we start to maybe get a bigger and a better picture of who we are, of what we are, of what's going on, it makes our approach to life much more manageable. So it's almost as if you think about it, that you almost have very naturally more tools in your natural toolbox to be able to cope with those changes.
Sunita, if you don't mind hanging on.
Yeah, sure.
In a little while, when we get the news headlines in.
Okay.
I think we get another perspective on the world of change after George McCrae.
Great.
There's a question to lay at your door.
Oh, what was that? Was that past, did you say there, Alan?
We need to
Past, yeah.
The future. And just to remind you that I'm really interested in the whole of change. I think the world is changing.
Yeah, well, I mean, wow, that is a great question. And I think, you know, the past teaches us very much. It shows us where we're at. It shows us how we've been thinking and how we've been feeling. You know, I've trained in, so I started off life as a journalist. You know, I'm into truth and digging deep, and then I went into Ayurveda. And, you know, one of the things that we spend a lot of time looking at is actually the importance of our past, and how we can learn so much from our life's journey. So and it takes time. It takes time to consider what lessons may have come our way, because we tend to not live our life like that. You know, we're just busy and we're just getting on with things. So yeah, I mean, I'm a big believer that we can learn a lot from our past, and we can also learn how to live a better life by understanding. You know, by understanding to what certain things have meant as we've gone through them. So the past, yeah.
I think that people might be like wondering how they would do this. You sit and have memories.
You can, yeah. So there's a number of different techniques. One of the a great technique, you know, that really is worth spending time doing this is actually a mindfulness, a guided visualization, which actually I've got it recorded on DVD, so I can pop a copy in the post to you, Alan. It's where we actually start to travel back into our past. So we can start to think about, how did life, take some deep breaths, so inhaling and exhaling, getting our body very relaxed, and actually thinking about what life looked like 3 years ago. And what we do there is we tap into an experience that was actually very good for us. So we're able to really resonate with the experiences and the feelings and the emotions that we had at that time. Then once you become comfortable with that, you go further back to another 3 years. And basically this practice continues. And it really, I find that what I found with people that I've guided through, you know, with this technique, also others that I spoke to, it enables them to have a look at the past and take charge actually of where they are at today, if that makes sense. So it's, you know, kind of this effective way of creating space and being able to reflect and allowing the body and the mind to actually go into that space. But and then working with it in a very positive way about how where you're at now, considering where you're at now, but also how your future might look like. You know, maybe there's qualities or maybe there's habits that you recognize from the past that actually aren't best serving you, and then that, you know, that's something that you want to work on or grow through. So literally you can breathe into your past and take charge of yourself and navigate your way through.
Some people listening to this think, oh, I don't know, old mumbo jumbo, but it's not, because there is a need to consider how you feel about things, how you feel about people around you, how you feel about the world, which is changing. And I was talking to somebody the other day who indicated that the world of sort of, I find the right word is difficult here, but daydreaming or fantasy, how important that can be. It's easy for adults to sit and have 5 minutes thinking, oh, wouldn't it be lovely here? And then the reality bites, and you say, oh, silly me to have that dream, and you get on with just living your everyday life.
Yeah.
That vision of the full future, it may be a dark fantasy, but it can unlock a reality to the future.
Yeah, well, it's,
do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. And, you know, one of the things that we don't sort of pay homage to in our everyday lives so much, unless we're maybe working in an area, is actually tapping into our creative nature. So, you know, so we tend to plod on ahead. We're all living far busier lives than we were 10 or 20 years ago. And, you know, again, if we go back to the natural world, we're not naturally built to be operating at the pace that we are operating at in these days. So what then happens is you have more stress, you have more fear, it lowers the immune system, we forget to have fun and laughs. And, you know, by actually accepting that it's important to self-care, it's important to you know, enjoy this space where we can spend a little bit more time daydreaming. It's not a bad thing, it's actually a very good thing. Because what it will end up doing is it strengthens the immune system, because you're able to reduce stress, you know, you're able to reduce tension at that much more deeper level. And in essence, you actually end up having more energy and you end up being more proactive because of that. So it's important. It helps us, you know, have maybe more of a handle on things day to day, you know, rather than feeling so depleted. Because, you know, in our lives, many of us, you know, maybe we have, you know, Friday night, we open up a bottle of wine, and that it's great, you know. It's you know, maybe whatever it is, whatever your way, but actually enabling ourselves to go spend more time if I can say that, you know, inward, enables us to actually shift energy and move energy into a more positive space, but it also gives us more energy to take charge of ourselves. So daydreaming it's a wonderful tool to be able to do that, and you know, just get a better handle on things, I would say.
For everyday adult life, there is little time to daydream. They are a thing that you do, and then you feel guilty about them. I think now for many people there is a time to enjoy and exploit and see what reality that daydream can show you for the future. You know, it starts as a daydream or a fantasy, but that moment of reflection, maybe a few minutes of you can see new reality. And the other thing I'll just say is that we'll talk with Tim Gregory, the rock expert. That is to say that literally the rocks upon which we walk. And of course, there's a metamorphic rock. And when you think about how that metamorphic rock, if you think back to your geography lessons, massive pressure and heat turns one rock into a different sort. And it is pressure and heat. And we can think of what we're going through now as a kind of pressure and heat. But the more positive side, posted by David in Mansfield on an email, he says, human nature is now partly stymied, allowing Mother Nature to step in and start repairing herself. Birds on these sharper, skies are quieter and clearer, animals are safer. I can take this new atmosphere in bed with me every night and wake up to it every new morning. Isn't that positive?
Oh, I love that. No, it's so true, because, you know, life can get exhausting. And so actually at the moment, again, if we, you know, day-to-day level, yes, there's an intensity to it, but you know, he's so true. It's so true that, you know, I saw you know, we've seen more animals walking into urban areas because of this, because actually there isn't the stress and the tension there, and all of a sudden they're wandering into places they haven't wandered into before. And, you know, in India, I've got many relatives in India, and they say it's the first time they've been able to see the Himalayas. So we've got some incredible things happening on the planet at the moment, because actually we're being quiet. and we're sitting still. And so that's having this incredible domino effect that's going to, you know, benefit us all in the long run.
You've been most positive. I'm having your words have landed well with people and giving them a few thoughts to take them forwards, and people will find you on Facebook and on the internet. Your name SUNITA PASSI, and your business learning.
Yes, Tri-Dosha. So TRI _Dosha, DOSHA. Yeah.
Tri-Dosha. Look out for that. Look out for Sunita, and I'm sure we'll be hearing from you again soon on BBC Radio. You have a good rest of the day.
And you take care, Alan. Cheers. Bye. Bye.